Pause up, everybody. Welcome to Meow Hour. I'm your host, Arden Moore. This show is brought to you every Wednesday night, hump day, by the Cat Fancier Association. And we have to thank our great sponsor, Kitty Raid. They make these nice isotonic drinks for kitties. Come here, Casey. Let's see if you want, Kitty, you want some treats, Casey? Come here. Casey, come on. Casey goes, I'm coming. Oh, yeah. I love the Kitty Raid. We're going to give away some Kitty Raid, Doggy Raid, and Yummy Raid later in the show. I can't do this show without my co-pilot. They're all breed CFA judge, Kathy Black. Thank you, Kathy. And we do not discriminate against DOGs because always we have our doggy designee, Destiny. And we got a great guest today. I feel like anything I'm going to say to her, she already knows I'm asking the question. Because she is a renowned animal communicator. She's done the TEDx talks. I love the fact that you have been described as, let me get this right, by MSN as one of the top 25 people who do what they love. Please, everybody, give pause and applause to the remarkable animal communicator and author, Joan Ranquet. Hey, Joan, thanks for being on the show.
Welcome, Joan.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
I see a DOG.
That's just one. I live with, that's Penelope, but here's Francesca's purring by my side right here.
Francesca.
And we've got Henry, Buster Keaton, and Queen Latifah's in her little cubbyhole over there. So
Queen Latifah, nice.
Queen Latifah, yeah.
Well, tell her I really like her show on CBS now.
Yeah, she's excited about it.
Does she do stand-in for the actors?
She does.
Oh, okay.
She would. and she would give it a little bit of catitude.
Ooh, that's good. Yeah. Talk to the ears, because you talk to the paw because the ears aren't listening. I got you.
That's right.
So as you can tell, the remarkable Joan Ranquet has a lot of animals in her house that are in harmony. She's going to help us with some things, get into how to better talk with our pets, not at our pets, because conversation is two-way. But first, I wanted to share with you, there's a new study out. I don't know if you've heard about it. The very amazing Dr. Nicholas Doddman. For many years, he was the director of behavior, animal behavior at Tufts University School of Veterinary Medicine. At the time, I was also the editor of Catnip, that publication from the veterinary school, national magazine. So now the good Dr. Doddman is now the founder of the Center for Canine Behavior Studies, but he likes cats too. So here is the study. Apparently people think, and Joan, you can jump in on this too, that there is the ability to perceive and recognize your own reflection in a mirror is considered a hallmark of cognition among different animals. And for years, they kept saying that chimpanzees and orangutans, dolphins, elephants, even magpies will look at their own image in a mirror and know it's them and not another threat. But for years, they've been kind of saying, well, dogs and cats, they don't have that superior sense of cognition. Well, the cat's out of the bag, because it turns out that some cats are able to see that it's them. And I'm going to try to do it with Casey, if he'll let me, if Rusty doesn't come. So Rusty, I'm going to throw you a treat, Rusty. Here comes Rusty. Everybody say hi to Rusty, the performer. Don't bother me right now, I'm busy. Here you go, Rusty, here you go. Now, Casey, I want you to look at yourself, sit. All right, look at yourself in a mirror. Casey. All right. Are you scared by your own self? He's like, I don't care about the friggin' mirror. Could you please just give me the treat, sit, touch? There you go.
This is what Casey sees when he looks in the mirror.
What do you think, Joe? Is that what Casey's seeing? So they the good Dr. Doddman actually has two cats, one named Monkey and another one named Griswold. And these are cats that don't like other cats. So when they saw their reflection of themselves in a mirror, they didn't get all hissy. So we've got someone here in the house that sort of knows how animals think. What's your thoughts first about the mirror test? And second, that cats are a lot smarter than we give them credit for.
Well, I always say that we have a paradoxical relationship with all beings because on the one hand, you know, we've slept in the cave with lions and wolves, and then we've worshipped cats, and we've lived in, you know, tents with horses, and horses ended up like helping us build society, and
Yeah.
dogs have helped us, you know, help the blind, help, you know, people with PTSD. But cats have remained always at that one place where we worship them. So
Yeah.
I think we, you know, they're pretty smart to begin with because they haven't had to do all the labor that
Right.
the others have had to do. But no, I actually have a little story from my history. I had, as I was just getting into animal communication, I had a horse who was my absolute soulmate horse, and she gave birth to a young, you know, a foal. And the night that she gave birth, she colicked, and essentially I lost her that night, even though we went through surgery and ICU and a couple of months in ICU and all sorts of things. But I ended up raising this orphan colt, and he really thought he was human. And there was one night that he followed me and my friend into a bathroom, right? He came in and he saw Judy in the mirror and he saw me in the mirror, and he realized to his horror that he was that horse thing in the middle.
Well, at least he wasn't the horse from The Godfather.
No, but he really was like, oh, I'm that.
I need a shave. I don't know. I got quite a shadow here.
Yeah.
Wow, that's hilarious. So,
Yeah.
but that shows you that he recognized it was.
He totally knew he was the weird thing in the middle, that he was living around them, but he didn't identify with them.
Oh
but
That's funny.
Yeah, and this one has seen herself on Zoom. You know, like when I'm on a Zoom teaching animal communication or something, she has seen herself and she's like, dang, I look good. So
look at her posing right now. She's like,
I know.
I'm beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. So
what about your cat Francisca and the kittens? What do you think?
They've definitely seen themselves in the mirror, and you know, I don't think I mean, I think Henry, my black cat, thinks he looks really good too.
Well, what's that say about cats? And all of you out there, chime in do you have cats that walk by a mirror and say, I'm looking good? Or do you have cats that walk by the mirror and go, who are you? Did you just bring in another cat?
One of the funniest entertainments I've ever had in my life was a friend was showing an exotic, and we were in the hotel room, and it was one of those closets that had a full mirror, and the closet door was open, and the kitten saw this cat and got so excited and ran around into the closet, of course, to meet the cat, and the cat wasn't in the closet, and it came back out all kind of sad and looked in the mirror, saw it again, got all excited and ran in the closet again. This went on for over 2 hours. It was just hilarious. So the cat did not recognize itself at all, but it definitely recognized it was a cat. Yeah, there was a cat on the other side of the wall. So,
well, they're like humans, right, Joan? They're not all cats are the sharpest crayons in the box, right?
And sometimes it's youth, you know, gets wasted on the young. Like maybe he was just really young and he grew into recognizing himself. But
Wow.
I think, you know, one of the other studies that is there's a lawyer that's really trying to create more status for dogs and cats and all animals really. And his whole thing is that personhood is basically if you can see into the future, or you have a sense of the past. So see into the future, if I were to say to my dog Abby, who's completely passed out right there, let's
Haven't
get in the
started the kitty cocktails yet, Abby. Come on.
exactly. But if I were to say to her, let's get in the car, she could see the future of that, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we know that animals have trauma. You know, they will not like walk through a threshold if something knocked down on them the day before, right?
Right.
So they can see the past. So I feel like there's so much that we're missing out on what their intelligence is and how different it is from ours and how important it is to recognize their version, because I think what our biggest challenge on the planet right now is, well, one of them is that because we don't see who they are, they've become, like that's why the shelters are so full. And it to me, that's one of the biggest tragedies of all. I'm working on this new book called EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique for Animals. And I go, it's a way to help behavioral things and some wellness issues. But like I kind of broke down cat peeing. And we've got all these ways to help dogs that pee, right? They can pee pads, belly bands, diapers. But if we don't start recognizing why cats do it and help them, those are the cats that end up in the shelter. Those are the cats that end up being euthanized. And so our misunderstanding. So I'm glad that they're spending all this time trying to figure out if they see themselves in the mirror and know who they are. But really, let's figure out
pee problem and stay in homes, right?
Yeah.
So, well, what we're going to do before we get right into the formal part where we get to speak with the good Joan Ranquet is our audience, Joan, likes prizes. So last week I gave a trivia question and Kathy's going to name the winner. And we're also giving away an autographed copy of a book from our previous guest, which is Mikkel Becker. So the question, everybody, from last week was this. The world's, I know this is like dinner time for some of you, but the world's largest hairball is from the stomach of a cow, and it's actually on display at the Finney County Historical Museum in Garden City, Kansas. Mark that on your must-do list to visit, Joan.
I will. It's already checked.
And you get to touch it with gloves, which why would you want to? No, thank you. Anyway, how much did this mammoth hairball weigh when it was first removed from one of the many stomachs of that cow? And the answer, believe it or not, was 55 pounds.
Wow.
And we had a lot of guesses, but not everybody guessed correctly.
All right.
Yeah.
So who won, Kathy?
All right. So the winner, 55 pounds hairball. And by the way,
Sounds like a country song coming up.
I had 2 hairballs in the last week. So thank you, Arden. You said it was Hairball Awareness Month, and my cats know that.
Yeah, that's why we did the hairball trivia.
Yeah. So the
Aren't you glad you weren't on the show last week, Joan? That was.
So the winner of the kitty raid is Lisa Alshul. Congratulations, Lisa. She gives the kitty raid, doggy raid, and yummy raid samples from our sponsor.
All right. Keep your kitty and doggies hydrated. Yeah.
And so thank you everyone who participated. The other question was, what was the name of Mikkel's dog that had like 5 homes before it came to Mikkel?
Yeah, she worked really hard on this dog. And
that was Otis, right?
Otis the pug.
And so we had a lot of people guess Otis correctly, and Jamie Brehob is the winner of Mikkel's book. So congratulations, Jamie and Lisa.
It's from Fearful to Fear-Free. It's a game-changing book all about the Fear-Free program. You go to Fear-Free Happy Homes and you'll learn more. But we thank Mikkel for giving the autograph, and we thank and congratulate the winner. All right, Miss Guest, you cannot show if you know the answer because we don't reveal the answer to this night's trivia question until next week. You ready?
I'm really bad at trivia, so don't worry.
And I think you already know the question and answer. I always feel like she's going to know my questions. Okay. There is a new mayor in a town in Michigan, and I kid you not, the town's name is Hell. Well, that says a lot, whether you're a red or a blue person, I don't care. How would you like to live in Hell, Michigan? Anyway, well, this new mayor in Hell was inaugurated on Sunday, just a couple days ago. And this is a politician who purrs. Yeah, they elected a cat to be the mayor of Hell, Michigan.
I think that's hilarious.
That's
This
awesome.
cat is a pretty big deal in the internet. This is an internet star, kitty. Has more than 700,000 followers on TikTok and more than 400,000 followers on Instagram. We're not going to reveal who it is until next week, but here's your challenge for the kitty raid, the doggy raid, and the yummy raid set. What is the name of this cat that's now the mayor of Hell, Michigan? Is the cat's name A, Hank? Is the cat's name B, Jinx? Is the cat's name C, Stubbs? Is the cat's name D, Tuxedo? Your choices, Hank, Jinx, Stubbs, or Tuxedo. So go ahead and type your answers in now. And for those of you that picked this up on YouTube, because you can't make the show live tonight, you still have till about Sunday night, right, Kathy?
Yes.
So put those answers in. Wasn't that a good one, Joan?
That is such a great one. I think I'm going to have a mayor here on my farm.
He ran with the campaign Catnip for Everyone.
Catnip for everyone.
Woo!
We're going to eliminate every hairball in every house.
That's right. No hairballs for you.
And we are going to be nice to dogs, because if cats and dogs can get along, and in my house they do, obviously in Joan's, obviously with Kathy, the world, we could learn from our dogs and cats on how they get along.
Amen.
Amen. So that's the trivia question for today. So what I'd like to do is at this time.
Real quickly, email me your responses.
Yeah,
My
that would
email
help.
address is in my name, kathy.black@yahoo.com. So if you're watching this on YouTube or you're watching us live, you can type your answers in the chat, but make sure you send me an email. Okay, thank you.
All right. So properly, our special guest today on Meowie Hour is Joan Ranquet. And just so you know, we've mentioned that she does know how to speak with animals, not at animals. She's been on a number of shows. She's working her way up because she was on Animal Planet. She was on NBC's Today Show. She was on Good Morning America. She finally made it to Meowie Hour.
Yay!
I can't believe it.
Academy. Well, and I love that you relate to all sentient beings, and we're going to get to kittens in a minute, but she's spoken to horses in the Kentucky Derby, and she has also spoken to animals that have crossed the Rainbow Bridge and are in transition. But I know the Kentucky Derby is coming soon. So are you going to tell us which horse is going to win?
I can't do that. They all think they're going to win.
So can you share a little bit about a horse at the Kentucky Derby? How did you get this opportunity? And that sounds so cool.
It was really fun. I'm not the biggest horse racing fan anymore, just because I think the industry has really changed. Or maybe it was always that way. I don't know. But as a kid, I mean, I've always had off the track thoroughbreds. Thoroughbreds are my favorite breed, and I have a thoroughbred now. So anyway, the thing so I got it because of way back, I think it was 98. MSNBC they didn't know they were going to end up being what they were, right? Like they really morphed into what they are now. But at the time, it was really the first kind of like, here's an internet and a television guru coming together, right? It was and so my friend's husband was the head of that, and they loved what I was doing. And they talked, at the time, MSNBC had a whole sports department. And so they talked to the head of sports, and had him arrange for, he was going to go to the Kentucky Derby, and he arranged for, yeah, they paid for me to go and paid me. So I got to, it was really amazing because I went about a week before. So I was on the backstretch and I got to, you know, get to every single horse, except for there was one trainer, and I always forget his name, but this was pretty ironic. He shut all the shades down on all of his horses because they're, you know, people in the racehorse industry are very superstitious.
Yeah.
So he didn't want that psychic lady coming near his horses. So I ended up
He thought
getting
you
to the
might
horse.
give his horse bad juju or something.
Juju,
Yeah.
So ironically, years, like 10 years later, I was living in Florida at the time, and I ended up meeting his wife because she takes a lot of these off the track thoroughbreds. And I told her the whole story and she loved it. And she said he still didn't believe in animal communication, or he was scared of animal communication. But then ironically, his dog was having seizures and they weren't epileptic. And I was able to find where in the body the seizures were coming from. And so he ended up becoming forever grateful for this work. But that was a pretty funny turnaround.
Well, let's cut to the
full
chase.
circle.
Cut to the chase about the horse, of course. I've heard of the famous Mr. Ed, but what were the horses telling you? Can you give me?
There was one horse that was, his name was Lemon Drop Kid. And I tell you, it was like talking to Muhammad Ali. He was like, yeah, he was all pumped up and ready to go. And then almost speaking poetically. And then he didn't win the Kentucky Derby, but he did win the Preakness and the Belmont Stakes. So he ended up winning 2 of the 3 of the Triple Crown. So that's why I say, like, they all think they're going to win. I mean, they all have, you can't get that far into a sport and not really believe in yourself.
Yeah, not be a champion. Right.
Yeah. And I think that's so something, you know, even if I don't like how the competitive world can exploit animals, not all, obviously, but in that case, a lot of those cases, I think there's something we could learn. I always say that also with Westminster, to watch those dogs in the best in show class, they exude winning.
Well, what about with cats? Because we are Meow Hour. We got to get back to the cats, but cats are not small dogs. How's your conversations with cats, especially ones that may be in cat shows? And the nice thing about Cat Fancier Association is they have a whole household cat division. So they welcome all cats. But is there anything any vibe you can share with our listeners? Because I don't know, do we get anybody? Where are you from, guys? Last week we had Ireland and Australia. Come on, I want to see Rand McNally world map. Type in what's some things on a cat that knows they're going. They know what's up, right? When they're getting all groomed and all that.
Well, I think again, like I always say that there's a little spirit in them that has won so many times that it's like they have almost an expectation of winning. And I think that's the one thing that, like I said, we could learn a ton from that as far as just their confidence. And then the other great thing about them is it doesn't wreck them if they didn't win, because in their mind they showed up. So they've already won, right?
And obviously I was going to have you communicate with Casey, but I think this is taking priority right now. Casey, sit, touch. So he knows to work it, right?
Yeah.
But what's your impression of Casey right now? This is the one that teaches the pet first aid class. Casey, you want to have some manners? Case, lift up. Hi, Joan.
I mean, I'm going to get quiet for a sec. I mean, the one thing I would say about, bless you.
Penelope.
You're kind of upstaging me.
It's a pet show.
Yeah.
I thought Penelope was tuning into your vibes very well.
I know. It felt like she was too. You know what? The biggest thing I get about Casey is that he is, it feels like, I don't know if you saved him from some situation, but he feels a little bit like he was saved. And in many ways, he has such, he's basically the man of your dreams, he thinks. But
he is my BFF, my best feline friend.
Yeah, and he would offer you anything, and in many ways, it feels like he deals on such a dimensional level. Like he could sit and do this all day long. He could perform, so to speak, but he also knows what sort of a mood you're in, how to help you when you need. Yeah, it's almost like he's also, in addition to being a performer, your emotional support cat.
Well, he's the one that helps me teach pet first aid, and he's very good at it. And his rowdy brother, Rusty, kind of annoys him sometimes, like just now.
Yeah, like my turn.
Come here, Casey, come here. But thank you. But I've never had a ginger cat. He was rescued from a shelter at 4 months of age. I mean, I've never had a cat that would let me do this. And he's like, what's happening? And he purrs like a Mack truck. I think he reads your energy too. So cats read energies. And I think, is that a key to communication for us, for our pets?
Absolutely.
Casey said yes, right, Casey?
Yeah, yeah.
So give us a little bit of help. How can we talk better with our cats?
So the biggest thing with animal communication is, I mean, people come to my classes because they want to receive information from animals. And while I think it's great, and I worked hard to be able to do it, and it's easy, it's deceptively simple, I guess you could say. It's easy on the one hand, but it's also hard because you have to trust yourself, you have to get quiet. There's a number of things about receiving information, but I always tell people, if you did nothing else but really became a better sender, you're gonna just solve things at home right away. And what I mean by better sender is, we're always picking up on each other's pictures, words, and feelings. So like he says, he's your emotional support cat. Like he knows the minute you walk in the door, if you've had too busy of a day, if you've got something on your mind, like he's tracking. He knows how you're feeling all the time. So when they're picking up on our pictures, words, and feelings, if we're super distracted or we can send mixed messages over something as simple as like, oh my God, the cat peed on the rug again. Why won't he use the litter box? And instead of picturing the rug, it's like, really, when something goes wrong like that, continue to picture the behavior that you want, the outcome that you want, because that's how we start to shift their perception of what we're thinking. Because you can imagine, here's the example that a lot of animal communicators give. If they're picking up on our pictures, words, and feelings, and we say to the dog, which this would never happen at my house, but let's say you say to the dog, off the couch. And so the dog gets off the couch, and then you think to yourself, but when I go in the other room, she's going to get back on the couch. And when you go in the other room, what happens? They get back on the couch because they're just following the orders. And so a lot of times how our animals are behaving is based on kind of what we're mentally setting up for them. So
you know
being
what?
a better sender.
If I may interject, that's hilarious because we have a long couch in my home, and my terrier mix, Kona, every time my wife Julie gets up off her spot, which is the end of one end of the couch, to get a glass of water or whatever in the kitchen, before I can even turn around, Kona's already taken her spot with her head on her pillow. And then Julie comes back in and lip lick, and it's like a joke. But I think Julie's probably going to the kitchen saying, don't go and sit in my spot, right?
Yeah.
And Kona's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, exactly. And like they can't break down verbs in their head. So when we say don't do something, we're really saying do it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And so if Julie wanted a different outcome, she'd have to think of Kona staying in place while she goes up and gets a drink of water.
Well, we'll try it tonight. I'll report back to you. What
Okay.
about, is there a difference in how we can communicate with our cats versus our dogs? Because many of us have cats and dogs. Our co-host Kathy has a show, Destiny. Is Destiny on your lap?
No, she's on the floor.
Oh, big girl pants tonight. So that's where her dog's 5 pounds. So is there anything, because there's folks out there that have cats and dogs, and I do want to let people know, you want to put that link up, Kathy, because the nice thing that Joan Ranquet is doing for all of us is she's sending us all a link that is a free 4-part video on animal communications. So
I've already posted it.
can you talk a little bit about, that's a very generous offer, and thank you.
Thank you. So first of all, going back to the dog and cat, my dogs and cats, it's all pretty, it's pretty equal here.
Okay.
How I communicate with the dogs is definitely, I mean, the difference between the dogs and the cats is I think some of the dogs think their last name is damn it. But other than that, I would say that it's like, oh my God, damn it. But you know how that goes.
Damn it.
Exactly.
All right. What about with the kitties? You don't usually say damn it?
No, because they don't really ever like look at me and run the other direction. You know, I mean, I'll show you exactly who does that. That one right there. Can you see her?
Oh, yeah. That's awesome. Right.
Yeah, that would be Miss Abby. So anyway.
So we had an interesting question from Facebook. Can cats detect cancer? Can they like alert you to cancer?
I think some cats can. I think that cats can. I think dogs can. There have been a lot of studies about that. I think that a lot of times cats have such a healing ability. Like, you know, those cats that just get on your chest. I mean, of course, maybe they want breakfast, but also they might just want to lay with you and be with you and have that kind of quiet moment with you. And I mean, I think it's those cats that have that quiet healing sensibility that, you know, I know I have one, Buster Keaton. If he started paying attention to some part of my body, I would very definitely take it seriously.
That's a really good tip. This guy is Rusty the performer, and he's a little bit of a kid brother syndrome. Look at me, look at me. But every morning he comes and walks on my chest and lays down and kisses me under the chin, and he does that so soft wink.
Blinky, blinky.
But then he gets to be a brat in the afternoon to Casey and the rest. There he goes. But I love that, you know, each one's different. But this 4-part video, I mean, can you tell us a little bit about what you could learn from on it?
Yeah, so the first, we go into kind of what the difference between connection, communication, communion, and energy healing is. So we talk a little bit about how people are, you know, obviously if you're here, you're very connected to animals. So we kind of review that in the first one. And then we do talk about how I don't expect when I go out I take people on wildlife trips, and I live in a big open space around.
And she's in California, everybody. Santa Clarita?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't expect, you know, the raven that's landed up there to talk back to me, right? I love to
call me, Joan. Quack! Call me, Joan.
Exactly.
You know what they're thinking. They only think one thing. What can I find to eat?
Yeah.
So, all right. So go continue. I apologize.
No, that's all right. But I definitely have communion with them. Like I have one raven that has a nest above where my horses are.
Oh.
And he's down walking around with my horses almost every morning. And why? Because one of my older horses spills a lot of grain out of her mouth. And so, yeah, he's getting a second meal. But we're at a point where he doesn't fly off. So we commune well. So we have a little exercise in there to help you commune with nature.
Okay. I like that. I like that.
We have one of the things in there is talking to my dog Delilah, who's usually also right here, but she must be on the couch in the other room.
She's texting my cat right now, Casey.
Yeah, Delilah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Delilah's probably, she's border collie, so she's probably telling, you know, Rusty how to do it right.
All right. So
And
what's
then-
the third? And then what's that one about? That one is
That one is everybody gets to talk to Delilah.
okay.
So, and then the fourth one is energy healing. So we talk about just some basic things, and there's a grounding exercise in there for people to ground their dogs or cats.
I like that.
So, very fun.
Now, folks, she's been at this a while. I know everybody always asks the question. I don't know, but how did you realize you could talk with animals?
Well, I was really, I had this horse. I don't know, I was telling you about the orphan.
Is that Drake car or?
No, Drakkar is my horse now.
Oh, okay.
That's my thoroughbred. So I had this horse that I ended up losing when she gave birth, but she was really my absolute soulmate. I was very connected to her, and I'd used an animal communicator for fun, but it was so amazing. This is like 88 or 89, and there are people probably watching this that weren't even born yet. But anyway.
No, we got people that our age.
Okay. So I remember every time the animal communicator would communicate with us, would help work with us, I felt so connected to her in a way that I couldn't describe. And eventually I didn't want that connector. I wanted to be that connected all the time.
Okay.
And so that was really a large part of it. And once I started taking classes, and once I started learning animal communication, I realized, you know, you suddenly kind of go through life and recognize like, oh yeah, I was that kid that a lot of horses trusted. I was that kid that could give that horse a shot and no one else could. So there was some connection. There was always a connection. I knew a connection, but somehow I was communicating something for animals to feel safe around me. And that's almost kind of the first step, is to recognize what impact you have on the animals around you. Okay. So that is how I got started. That's the short version.
But you made a living out of it. And I mean, listeners and viewers, sorry, I also do a radio show. So you guys see me? I see you. She has, you've been kind of hung out with an orangutan, right?
I've hung out with orangutans in zoos and in out in the wild. And again, I'm not the biggest zoo lover, but I love the animals that are in the zoo, and so I'm always happy to go help. And so I've actually helped in several different zoos, mostly primates, a couple of tigers. Then yeah, so I've helped a lot of those situations, and yeah, I've made a living at it for a long time.
What's your hope for us? What's something you could share with us that says this would improve our relationships with our cats and our dogs and maybe our horses and guinea pigs?
I think the biggest thing is really seeing them as individuals and seeing that they have their own little world. That a lot of times we get very codependent with our animals, and I think that the more we back away from that and let them have their own world and their own confidence and their own ability to kind of self-soothe, if you will, things like that, I think is really important. Because again, like I said earlier, I feel like we've got a genocide in the shelters, and it's largely cats.
Yeah.
And so the more we are aware of them as individuals and really seek out solutions, the world's going to be a happier place. And the more we take that awareness to our friend and their friends' friends, and you know, this communication, their world really matters. And even if it's really much smaller than ours, you're all they got, you know. So just love on them, but let them be who they are.
What's something that your cat Francisca or your kittens, I'm thinking Queen Latifah, what have they, I mean, when you wake up in the morning, do you, everybody, do you have to say, do you do a silent meow? Do you say hello without saying hello?
I purr like you can't believe. No, I wake up and I've got Francesca here. I've got Queen Latifah here. I've probably got Buster Keaton on my chest. I've got Henry on a foot. I've got a dog head here. Another dog. My feet are shared by Abby, the dog you saw laying
But
down.
your horse doesn't come in.
Oh my God. Yeah, we're
There's
just
no
lucky.
room.
Yeah. So I have a king size bed and it's me and 3 dogs and 4 cats.
And it works. There's no fights.
Never.
And why is that?
Well, I really believe that this is something I talk about in my second book, Energy Healing. I talk about it in the first book too, but that all animals, whether they're in a herd or a pack or a pride or a colony or a flock, have a leader. And so, and they are connected to each other, but they can inform the leader, but the leader kind of makes that final like, uh-oh, let's go. Right. And so I talk a lot even in my new book coming up, about emotional leadership. And so even if I'm having a bad day, that's not going to affect my animals because I've established I'm the emotional leader. I can have a bad day. Henry can have a bad day. Abby never has a bad day. But, Queen Latifah can have a catitude. Like we can all be wherever we are, but we have harmony.
That's
and
nice.
I'm in charge of setting that tone. And therefore, everybody falls in line. And they still are individuals with their own feelings and their own trajectories and their own needs. But we all just really love each other and we all like to have fun.
That's good. What about you, Kathy? Do you have a question for Joan, or is there anybody, because you see the questions, that I might want to throw at her before the show ends?
Sure. People are asking for the link, so I'm reposting the link.
Okay. It's
and
joanranquet.com.
Yes.
And for the videos too? Good. Yeah, please do so.
I spelled it wrong, so I deleted that one.
Sorry, Joan.
That's all right.
No, I think that she's right, that you have to understand and respect the individuality of our animals, because I bred certain breeds and most of them were all the same type of personality. They liked the same things, they disliked the same things, they all acted the same. But I have some single kittens that grew up not liking other cats, not liking anything to change, just because they never had anything happen to them that wasn't their idea. Okay. So, because when you're a kitten, things happen to you that's not your idea, right? Your litter mates pounce on you and attack you, and and she didn't grow up with that. And so I struggle with her personality because it is so different from what I expect, but I also have learned to understand her and appreciate her for what she is, even though she's different, and then this one came in my life, and then everything.
This is her first dog, Joan.
Yes.
And the dog is smaller than any of her cats in her home.
Yeah, my cats are like 13, 14 pounds, and she weighs 6. So
yeah, well,
so my cats are fatties.
Yeah,
but she thinks she's a cat. I mean, she's always thought she was a cat, but she's a smart dog. She knows about 25 words, and she's a pretty smart dog. And you're right. You don't say CAR because she definitely knows what that is and where we're going.
Yeah.
Well, I can't even say the word out or spell OUT now. I have to spell it TUO.
Oh, how funny.
And they're going to get it. They're going to get it.
Yeah. And eventually you're going to have to say UTO.
And then we're going to watch YouTube on the band, and there'll be the whole thing.
Yeah,
but I just think pets, if we can just get over ourselves, we are not the superior race. Species, it sounds like, has their own benefits and skills. I mean, the cat can outsmell a dog. but they're not gonna, or they can out hear a dog, but they're not gonna be a hearing therapy pet, right?
No,
So
like I said, they managed to be worshipped the whole time.
yeah, I have never won that ability, you know, but I'm like Avis or whatever the one is that you try harder. I don't know which one it is. So is there, we're gonna be talking about the Devon Rex pretty soon, but I hope you stick around, Joan, because we do wrap things up. But before we go into the cat breed that our all breed cat judge Kathy Black is going to share, is there any other thing? I do know everybody go on her website because she does have some workshops coming up in October that I really want you to check out. And if this is something you're very interested in, you're going to have a better connection with your pets. And I hope you check her out. She's written a number of books, and she's generously given us a 4-part video series. So Joan, that's really nice. I appreciate that.
Well, I love helping, and I also have something coming up called Energy Healing for Animals, and it's a lot of EFT and a lot of, you know, so if people have big behavioral issues, it's a way of looking at helping, shifting the household. So,
and I actually did that. Let me see. I think I wrote it down. You said EF. Let me see if I get emotional. Where'd my notes go? I had it.
Emotional freedom technique.
Technique for animals. Emotional freedom technique for animals. I love that. Hey, I'm going to go off the air for just a second because I got to get our kitty cocktail ready. But you're in good pause because Joan's here and Kathy Black is going to talk about the breed, the Devon Rex. So everybody hang out.
Okay. We are featuring a breed a week, and CFA is also featuring a breed a week on their Facebook page. And if you have the breed that's featured, they request that you upload pictures of your cat. And this week we are talking about the Devon Rex. So CFA recognizes several breeds that have the Rex gene. The Cornish Rex we did last week, the Devon Rex this week, and the Selkirk Rex we'll do when we get to the S's. And Rex means the coat is curly, that the Rex gene causes a curly coat. And this is the little Yoda of the cat world. The Devon Rex was actually the inspiration for Steven Spielberg's creation of Yoda in Star Wars. It originated in an area called Devonshire in England. That's how they got the name Devon. In the 1950s, the first cat showed up, and I think they called it Curly. And but they have these big ears, and the coat can range from wildly curly to a soft suede down. That you would think these cats came from outer space. But they were accepted for competition in 1983. It is our 6th most popular breed of cat based on registrations. And it has no outer coat or guard hairs. It just has the undercoat and the down. So they're very easy to keep as hyperallergenic cats. Just wipe them down with some distilled water to remove the saliva. And they come in all colors and patterns. So let's look at some of these cats. Whoops, my finger is going fast. So you can see how they have these large ears. We call this a bell shape. It definitely is outside the line of the wedge of the head. So this is the line of the wedge of the head. The ears are outside that. They have a level back. Last week we did the Cornish Rex that has that naturally arched back. These cats have a level back. You can really see the loose curls on this cat. It's a very small to medium size cat. These don't get very large. I would say 6 to 8 pounds is probably average. I really like these wide look between these eyes and those large ears. And you can really see how it just has that soft undercoat to it. Very pixie looking, Yoda looking, E.T. I have lots of different descriptions for these cats, but they really have such a sweet look to them. And they go through different phases of hair, just like your normal cat sheds its summer coat and then puts on more coat in the winter. A lot of that will be the undercoat. It keeps the long guard hairs, which makes it look thinner because it's losing all that undercoat. We'll just take all those guard hairs away and just picture the undercoat only, and you will understand that sometimes these cats will lose the hair on the neck, sometimes they lose it off their body, or it may be more sparsely populated on the body because they're going to go through different phases, having different amount of coat, just like a normal cat would. They come in solid white. This one is an odd-eyed white. We also have the bicolor pattern. They come in the pointed pattern, every kind of pattern you can think of, and color that you can think of. And but there are very sweet, loving cats, very, very popular breed. I think it has been much higher than 6th place in the past, but currently it's sitting number 6 in our most popular breed of cat. So that is the Devon Rex. Excuse me, my allergies are giving me fits.
Thank you very much. What did you think of that breed, Joan?
I've always thought they were pretty amazing looking. And I think, I mean, I figured they were from Devon, but I love the anatomy and all of that. I think they're very cool. And I had no idea that about the curly hair, so that was great.
Casey says, I don't care, just give me the treats.
Yeah.
Hey, moving on. One thing that we do want to announce is the nice thing about Cat Fancier Association. They've been around since 1906, even before I was born. Right, Casey? Touch it up. Yep.
Before Oklahoma was born.
Even before the state of Oklahoma, where Kathy resides. But they're really making a conscious effort to help shelters, and that's with their CCW program. Tell us a little bit about that, Kathy.
So CCW stands for Companion Cat World. It is our way to recognize the non-pedigreed cat, give them a legacy. You know, for $13, you can register your cat. That one-time lifetime fee gives yourself or your cat a unique registration number in the CFA database, sends you a lovely membership card with your cat's picture on it. Your cat goes up on our gallery of cats on our website. 10% of that $13 goes to a local shelter. So you can check it all out at cfa.org/CCW and register your cat today.
So I heard telepathically, Queen Latifah, your cat says, I really want my own CCW card, Joan.
She said that. I agree. Yeah, I heard it too.
And
she was not quiet about that. She was not quiet about that.
No. You know, there's going to be a cat on that show with Queen Latifah. What's it called? It's a remake.
Oh, The Equalizer.
The Equalizer. It's going to be, the character's going to be the Pearlizer. So we already got it all scripted. Hey, thank you for sharing that. I wear many collars in the pet world, and one of the ones that I'm very passionate about is being a master certified pet first aid instructor. And as you can tell, Joan, my classes are anything but boring because I think people learn when they're happy and they can enjoy things, and it's practical. So look at my teammates here. One of our most popular types of first aid classes I'm teaching is for cats only. And we've already booked out our next class, which is May 12th.
Wow.
But we do have openings for our next class, a 3-hour class. It's June 23rd. It's from 5 to 8 p.m. Central, which would be 3 to 6 your time, Joan. Joan, have you ever taken a pet first aid class?
I took one, believe it or not, I did take one in, so I used to do dog walking to the stars in the early 90s. And a couple of the people, the one woman was Carol Kane. I don't know if you remember her from Taxi. And anyway, yeah, I used to walk her dogs and a few other people like that. And so she sponsored a class at her house with me and a couple other friends. So there I was in a class with Tom Waits and all sorts.
Oh my gosh.
It was crazy.
Well,
but yeah, I took one a long time ago.
Well, here's my deal. Anybody who is a guest on my show, I waive the fee. And if you're interested in taking a cat first aid class, or, you know, I also teach a 4.5-hour dog and cat class. And tomorrow and Friday, I'm teaching 8 hours each day for people who want to become instructors. So my next 2 days are 16 hours. Lucky those people being with me. So if you're interested in the cat program and your schedule allows it, we do give you that as a thank you. So if you're interested, you get.
I would love that.
Okay, so I'm gonna mark that down. I'll send you the details. It's through Zoom. It's live interactive. Queen Latifah has to make an appearance.
I know. I'm thinking. She's so passed out right now.
No,
But
I mean, doing the class.
no, I know. But I was thinking she even needs one now. But
So
anyway.
I'll send you the details. But anyway, so from safety to being a licensed bartender. See, my last name is Moore. I am so happy that this week's kitty cocktail for people, not pets, I'm calling it the Viva la Meowvelous Michelada. It is, thank you, Teresa Kiger, all breed CFA judge and editor of Cat Talk. She creates these awesome looking graphics, but the summer is a coming. So for this drink, it's pretty easy to make if you love your beer. So you start with taking a nice tall beer mug. I've already got some ice in the glass. We want you to rim that with a lime and add a little bit of chili lime seasoning to the rim if you want, just to give that little bite when you're doing it. You're going to then pour in a light beer. I am a weenie. I can't drink dark beer. This one is a Yingling Lager Light. They have one called the Flight too, but you can do a Corona or whatever you'd like to do. So you're gonna tip the glass because you don't want all foam. And you're going to save room because you want to add 4 ounces of tomato juice or clamato. You say clamato, I say clamato. So I'm going to go ahead and do that in here.
That sounds interesting.
I know, chemistry. I'm into chemistry. So we got that in there, but wait, we're not done. But then we're going to add Worcestershire sauce. So you're going to have a dash of Worcestershire sauce in there. That gives a nice bite to it. And you're going to finish, if you can take the heat, some hot sauce, Tabasco hot sauce. I'm a hot sauce gal.
This is caliente.
It is muy caliente. And you're gonna then obviously put some lime in there to kind of take off the fire and put in and just put it all together, slowly stir it. So at this time, whether it's a glass of water, a beer, blueberry tea, whatever you have, at this time, I want us all to raise a glass and let us please celebrate and toast all cats for making us better humans. Thanks, kitties.
What a great toast.
Ay, chihuahua. I'm learning Spanish through Duolingo, but I sound Italian. But Sierra, más cerveza, por favor. I would like some more of this beer. That's it for my beer talk. Hey, at this time, we really want to do a shout out to our very special guest, Joan Ranquet, Animal Communicator Extraordinaire, author. Please check out the classes that she has coming up and also the link to the 4-part video series. Thank you, Kathy Black, for hanging with me each and every week, and you too, Destiny. Of course, my ginger boys are somewhere because they know it's the classes, the show's getting over, and that means they're going to be fed. Thank you, Kitty Raid, the makers of Kitty Raid, Doggy Raid, Yummy Raid. They are very good hydraulic. They're very good isotonic drinks and meal toppers that help keep our cats and dogs hydrated and jazz up the kibble a little bit. Next, and of course, the Cat Fancier Association for putting up with us, right, Kathy?
Right.
Next week, we have a special guest that's helping the shelter world, and his name is Chris Roy, and he is from Dubert. So we're very excited to get into what's happening. And his place is the one that helps volunteers coordinate. There's a cat in Toledo that's got a home in Santa Clara, California. Dubert.com makes it happen.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So I really appreciate everybody tuning in. Tell your friends. And until next time, it's the same cat channel and the same cat time. We'll see you on Meowie Hour. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Joan.
Thank you.